what the teachers go through. But I say that there's a lot of stresses out here, especially during this pandemic. You know, a lot of concerns. All these things are wearing on us. There's nothing wrong with getting help. There's nothing wrong with reaching out to a friend, a close friend, or family member and just say, hey, this is on my mind, or this is what's going on with me. Talk to somebody, please. Because I'm telling you, stress almost took me out. And I had to realize that I needed help, because what I was going through and dealing with, I was trying to deal with it on my own. I didn't want to talk to nobody. I didn't want nobody to know what I was going through. And for men, let me tell you this before I close, or before we go on to the next thing. What I was going through, I tried to hide from friends of mine, all of them retired military, until one day they cornered me and they say, you know what you're going through? I'm going through the same thing. Don't ever think the community you live in, the car you drive, the money that someone has, what you see on the outside is just that on the outside. Don't ever think that someone don't have problems that you don't know, because as they say in the country, you don't know what goes on behind closed doors. And these friends of mine all are retired. I'm talking master sergeant majors. I'm talking about houses, $600,000, $400,000 houses, sitting on water, boats, all nice cars. Kids go to the best school. Matter of fact, my son and some of my friends out there where I lived at, they would take the boat over to the marina to catch the bus. How many kids you know get to ride on a boat? And I'm talking about a nice boat. I'm talking about a very expensive boat. And he had two of them, and would take the kids across the lake to school, or nice cars. And we stuck together. We was real tight. It was all fathers, and we would take our kids to the bus stop every day and do like women do, stand around and talk about different things, whatever. But the point here is, don't ever look at someone and think that because where they live, where they drive, whatever position they have in life, that they don't have problems. And for us men, we guard it, because I try to hide what I was going through and lie to them, and couldn't find out all my friends and people and some of my closest cousins and closest friends that I know for years, we all were going through the same thing at the same time. But everybody, or at least for me, was not willing to talk about it to them. I had this chip on my shoulder. I'm Kelvis, and I live in this 5-bedroom, 5-bathroom house, 4,000 square feet, SUVs. I'm this in the church. I had, and I'm be honest, I had put myself on a pedestal, and God needed to bring me back down and make me value him. Not that I didn't value him, not that I didn't go to church, not that I didn't believe in, not that I didn't worship, not that I pay my tithes. But sometimes God has a way to bring you back down to a level that he needed to work with you.
He had to humble you.
He had to humble me. And it has been a very humbling experience, period. And I'm saying this because I feel in my spirit that somebody out there is going through what I've been through, or have been through what I've been through, and you're trying to figure out how to navigate this. Let me tell you, don't be ashamed to reach out for help, because I'm telling you, I did it. I lied. Until that day, it was nothing but God, I believe, that they cornered me and say, hey, put their arms around me and say, hey man, I'm going through the same thing. And we went out to lunch. We started a group chat. We checked on each other each day. We talked to each other. We go out and just sit and talk to each other and just listen to each other about what we was going through. And that was very encouraging. Not in the sense that I was glad that they was going through something, not that I was miserably loved company, but just the fact that I was able to talk about what I was going through, and we could all relate to a certain degree what we was going through. And I'm telling you, I'm imploring you today, if you listen to my podcast, do not try to fight battles on your own. Find a way to get through whatever you're going through with somebody else by your side, because it's always a blessing to have somebody that you can talk to and just listen to you. They don't and they don't have to necessarily agree with you, what you're saying, but just the opportunity to listen to you, and hopefully they can give you some good guidance. But the stigma of talking to a counselor or getting professional help, we need it. We in the African American community, I don't know about any other community out there to a certain degree, but I know in my community there's a lot of misconception about that's a weakness, and there's no weakness to cry A lot of men may say, hey, I'm too tough to cry. You know, I carry the weight on my shoulder. But after a while, my brothers, no matter the race, gender, religion background, male or female, it'll wear you down. So get that help. Get that help and stop listening to people that's telling you is something wrong to cry, because there's nothing wrong with crying. There's definitely nothing wrong with crying. There's definitely nothing wrong with taking a minute to find yourself sometime when you get lost. So I just felt like I need to share that with people so they can get to know Kelvis, because this is who Kelvis is now. This is my way forward. This is my therapy. This is what I'm doing it for, to share and to hopefully inspire and mentor and all those things to somebody, if it's just one person.
Well, thank you for sharing that. It wasn't just, so there was a piece of it where you let us in to something that was very personal to you, but also it was something that was very inspiring, and it was a word. It was a word that I know I needed to hear. Just a reminder that, one, you're not alone. You're not alone. Two, seek help. So that could be whether you're dealing with emotional help or anything else. So even, for example, for replacing the water, I was about to do that myself. I couldn't pick that thing up by myself, but I asked someone for help. Just something that simple. Me, even a year ago, I wouldn't have done that. But something that simple, but asking for help. And also managing your stress. So I heard manage your stress, you're not alone, ask for help. So those are the things I heard that really drove home to me, that if for nothing else, because yes, I'm helping you out with hosting, asking questions here today, but when I walk away, I've left with a word, and I've left with something that uplifts my spirit.
And something else that came in my mind that I wanted to share. Mm-hmm. In getting counseling, especially, I'm gonna say this for the married people. I'm gonna go ahead and put it out here in the atmosphere, if you want to say. If you're going through relationship problems, whether you're married, you're engaged, or you're in a long-term relationship, and you getting counseling, or you think that y'all need counseling, get counseling together. There's nothing wrong, again, with getting individual counseling. But when you do that, this is my opinion, that person on the other side, if I came in here and just told you things that went on in my life, you have a perspective from me. You don't have the perspective of my partner, because they have a totally different view, especially when it's a woman or a man. Doesn't matter. So when people do that, I think when people get individual counseling, but they take their relationship problems to that counselor, which I cannot say you can't do that and it's wrong, but it only leads that person to have one perspective of the situation. When you get marriage counsel or group counsel or couple counsel, however word you want to use, then that person has a perspective for both sides. My mama used to say, there's your side, there's their side, and then the middle is the truth. Mm-hmm. And so I think in saying that, if you're gonna going through a relationship problem, your marriage or whatever, get joint counseling, because individual counseling is great. And I have to say this too: when you get counseling, someone gives you advice. Ultimately, it's your decision to take that advice in life or in that situation. A lot of people take the advice that a counselor give them, or what that counselor said to them, and they take that and they run with it. And that's not. And I'm not talking about any particular person here in this content. So I'm just talking from abroad, because I had an opportunity to talk to, again, a lot of people. When I thought about doing this, I wanted to get people perspective on different subjects. And that's one thing that I've seen when you're going back to relationships, is people do that. They'll get that advice, and then they take that advice either from a counselor or a friend, and they run with it, instead of, I hear what you're saying, but at the end of the day, it's your decision. I was just telling somebody today, if you're in a relationship, and I've seen this toxic relationship, this word really have came out of nowhere for me. But if you're in a relationship and you got someone And I can't tell you, I'm not in your relationship, so I don't know. But one thing for sure, my mama used to say the grass is look greener on the other side until you get over there. So something that looks greener than what you in, but when you get over there and you start eating from that, you come to find out this grass is no different than the grass I left. Sometimes it's worse than what I left. My aunt Liz used to tell me everything that glitter ain't gold. So I could see something over there that was real shiny, and I'm like, man, that look like a piece of gold or a shiny nickel or dime, and I get over there and it's just a piece of metal. But from a distance, it looks real shiny. I think it's a dime or a penny that's real shiny, or nickel or dime that's on the ground. And to get over there, and it's just a piece of silver that's shaped in a form of a nickel or dime. So I think in relationships, people just automatically, hey, I'm moving on. But here's something that I learned at a very early age. If you got somebody that stood by you while you've been sick and down and been in your corner, there's no guarantee what you go get. And this is male or female. This is not a one-sided story here. May not, because everybody can put a good foot forward.
Right.
When you go on a date as a woman, you got your hair done, you got you got everything looking sexy and everything. You know what I'm saying? You step out, you look in the mirror, be like, damn, I'm no good. Okay, I'm about to go out here and kill this. Men, we get to brush our hair, or we bald head, we shine our head up, we put on a good draws, if I can say that. You know what I'm saying? We don't wear them old holy draws, we get the best draws out, we get our best socks, the ones no hole in it, we get out, you go to the bottom, get your hair cut, you know what I'm saying? You got that vibe, you got that jitter. So everybody is putting their best foot forward when you meet someone. But the true test of a relationship is not someone that can be with you when you're doing good. Anybody can be with you good. You're doing good, you got money, you're going